each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Man, I have not been very good on timing these correctly. I'm like 5-10 minutes late. Oh, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? I forget the rest of the song. I forgot the rest of the song. Shame on me. Should we listen to it? I think we should listen to it. Let's listen to it. All right, you ready? We're going to listen to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood theme song. Fuck it, they'll cut my video. I don't care. But let's start off on a good note here. House.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day for beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you, so let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please won't you be my neighbor?
Hi, neighbor. All right, now they're playing Johnny Cash sings Nasty Dan on Sesame Street. They need to put him back on. He's dead. So, can't do that. I don't know if everybody heard or not, but Sesame Street got cut. No more funding, no more federal funding for PBS. They got cut. One of the things that I did not quite agree with. I said hi to Leisure, but let's do it all again. Hey, Leisure. Hey, Amber. Hi, Michelle. Good to see all of you. I hope you're all having a wonderful Mother's Day. I just got off the phone with my mother. We are spending next week together. So we're going to go up there on Sunday. And I'm taking all my kids and the grandkids. And I'm doing that so I don't have to talk to my brothers and sister. Because I don't want to. In fact, if a particular person wasn't going to be there, I would have been like, yeah, we'll do it a different day. I'll bring the kids. But, I kind of get, it's like, there's a balance, because I understand why my mom wants all of her kids there and why she wants them all to get along. And especially now that I'm a parent and a grandparent, I really understand that. I really do. And, is it a strong, healthy boundary? Because it kind of triggers me. When people are nothing but fake and it's happening intentionally because we just refuse to be ourselves and I'm being myself, but I have to be fake. Yeah, I can't go for it. It's just really hard for me. It's really hard for me. But so is that a healthy boundary, or should I get over myself and do it anyway? I don't know. It's not like that. It's not like I'm showing up and everybody's abusing me or something. But the problem is there's still things that I have worked. There's things that I have worked through. Like for a long time, we were all trying to figure out why I hated Idaho so much. And it's a running joke, but I figured it out. And it's because my Uncle Tom, well, he liked the little boys. And that's what it was. That's what it was. So how do I bring that up to them when they give me crap about going to Idaho? I tell you now, it's just going to piss me off. All right, let's do some introductions. Hello, and welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. It is. My daughter and I had a great time last night. We watched the Hedwig and the Angry Inch. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching live or the rewatch. I know all the songs as I was singing along and stuff, but it was, after a couple arduous days of detoxing, it was good to just sit there and laugh for a little bit and show that, we don't need drugs and alcohol in order to enjoy ourselves. So, just showing that there can be joy. Speaking of joy, there's Clara Joy. Feels weird not having the 5 o'clock. Feels kind of weird. But I also need this day off. So we're going to get to the dangers and the benefits of mixing recovery with mental health. All right. The thing is there's not really dangers or benefits to it, as much as there is a right way to do it, and the rest are bullshit. When we start, let's say I'm a treatment center, and on one floor I have alcoholics, addicts, and mental illness. These are 3 separate things, and they're not going to. Those are the dangers. I asked the Raleigh house last week, you going for a cigarette? Huh? Are you leaving or something? Oh, hi. I love you. Yeah, it's just like, okay, bye. Need my car? All right. So there's a process, and there's a reason that there is a process to it. But I got, because Raleigh House is doing that. They're literally taking their mental health patients to AA meetings to get them help. Well, why are they? That makes no sense. That doesn't make sense. See, AA does not take care of mental illnesses. Alcoholism is in and of itself a mental illness. It's a separate mental illness. But when we start combining these things, it can get a little dangerous, because AA is not a one-size-fits-all for everything that goes on. And please don't take this the wrong way, but, so AA is for alcoholics, NA is for addicts. Yeah, sometimes we have some cross-addicted. Lately, I've been going to meetings, and there's just people that are not alcoholic, and they're speaking. And if we're going to let in addicts, and we're okay with that, that means that we also need to let in the gamblers. We need to let in the people that are addicted to porn and sex, the overeaters. I keep going. That means we need to let them all in. So think on that a little bit, that, and I'm not saying that this shouldn't help. I've certainly brought friends to AA while we were looking for things, but I let them know, you can't really say anything, but at least you'll get something. Some people will understand where you're coming from, things like that. But we're not really in that realm right now, although I'm sure people will comment on it. So here's the thing. when we get sober, and I'm sure a lot of you have already heard me talk about this before, is our addiction to, or our alcoholism looks like a lot of different mental illnesses. It looks like a lot of different ones. Leisure says, when I first got in the rooms, I had to go to alcohol classes through the city and county in Denver. My instructor was an AA guy, wasn't allowed to talk about AA in his classes. Correct. He is not allowed to talk about it there. You cannot be an AA member in that. So that guy did it correctly. Right? Yeah, the huffers. We'll have to let people in the huff. There's only one place I can go to treat the symptoms of disease of alcoholism. That's an AA meeting, mostly closed, but even there you get the straggler. Yeah. Yeah, and I get it, because we can't be intolerant. That we can't be, right? But we can, why are we the ones that have to lead everybody? Well, you got to go to this meeting. Okay, I'm an alcoholic. I'm not going to OA meetings. I'm not going to NA meetings saying I'm an alcoholic. You know what they would do? They would kick me out. And rightfully so. See, if it only works one way but not the other way, then we can start to see the problem. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, because we want to help everybody that we can, don't we? But I can't. I'm not God. I can't help everybody. Right? My alcoholics have got to kind of come first, man. That's where I do really well, is around alcoholism. Yeah. Right. So there are some benefits, but the thing is okay, I've been to a lot of therapy. Right. And what does a therapist do? They help you work through your problems. Right. I love when I hear people, I had to fire my therapist because, they just weren't doing anything. Good. Then they were doing what they were supposed to do, because a good therapist is just going to let you run your mouth till you solve your own problem. Because if it comes out of your mouth, then it'll stick. If it comes out of their mouth, not so much. Not so much. So, but there's a system, there's a process in which this should happen. So what does alcoholism look like? It looks like depression. It looks like bipolar. It looks like narcissism. It looks like ADHD. It looks like ADD, which is just the sister to ADD. It could even look like other mental illnesses such as autism. Yeah. By the way, Asperger's is no longer a thing. Now it's just all autism. Asperger's used to mean adult autism, but now it's just one thing, because Asperger was a Nazi. And we don't really want to use that. Right, Michelle says, we have to be tolerant of ones because AA started all. It led the way. Am I wrong? You are not entirely wrong, but AA was not the first one. It did not lead the way. There's another group out there that's been around longer than us called the Oxford Group, which we stole our tenets from. But out of the A's, yes, we are the grandpappy. We are the grandpappy. So in a way, you are correct, but we've also been doing this thousands of years too, if that makes sense. Right. But, at the same time, that's not fair. If I'm so busy working on people with OA, then I'm not helping my fellow alcoholic either. I earned my place in that seat. And that's what it kind of comes down to. I earned my place in Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. That membership did not come freely. At the same time, what happened to them did not come freely either. So I get it. I do. I want to help all the people that I can too. But I have to remember that I am an alcoholic. Now, so what did I do? Well, I went and found other people. I know people in all those other programs, so that if I need somebody, I can send them that way. we can do that. Just start collecting resources. Yeah, you know. I don't know what it means to be in a trap house. I don't know what it means to shoot heroin in my arm. I don't know the feeling. I wouldn't be able to describe it to you. Other people in AA might be able to, though. So, see, there we go. Maybe you have somebody who's an addict and they say, hey, you know, I'm going to take you to these other meetings where, you know, people will understand you even better. Amber, you're so funny. And I'll get to Claire, I'll get to yours too. Amber said, I want a membership card so I can put on my digital wallet like my Sam's Club members. You know what? Maybe we should start doing like grassroots membership cards. That'd be kind of cool, actually. Here's your membership card. Michelle said, I started in NA and CA, but here I am. But I don't hear you talk about those other things in the AA meetings. There's some people that are duly diagnosed. Absolutely, there are. Call them double dippers. Yeah, it does happen. But in that room, they're an alcoholic. Yeah. So there's some people that understand both sides. I'm not one of them. Claire says, help you hold yourself accountable with your goals and your efforts towards them. I'm a sponsor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a bank. I'm not a doctor. Just a spiritual junkie now. Ever says, I bet it goes against some tradition. Oh, handing out membership cards? Only if we refuse to not give it to anybody that came in the room. Then we would be breaking tradition. But each group that, yeah, there you go. A card that just says, I have a desire to stop drinking, grassroots. Yeah, we wouldn't be breaking tradition with that. Yeah, because each group is autonomous. We can do whatever the fuck we wanted, but what we don't get to do, as long as it doesn't affect other groups. But if we want to do laminated membership cards for grassroots, we certainly can do that. You know, we've got to make these Zoom groups a little bit more interactive one way or another. And I think that's cool. It's like, I went to this grassroots card. It was my first day. I raised my hand. And so we send them a desire chip along with a membership card. It's almost going to make you feel a little bit more accountable. We put the Serenity Prayer in the back, along with the podcast. Now we're pushing it. If we put the podcast on it, then we'd be blowing it. Then that would blow it. All right. So I described what a lot of alcoholism looks like. Okay. And it is because of that. Now, why? You can borrow my laminator. Don't tempt me. I love laminating shit. I'll get out of control and laminate my Social Security card. All right. So there's a process. And you might even be in therapy before you come into AA. That doesn't mean stop your therapy. No, it doesn't. It's when we mix alcoholism and mental health, especially in the first 6 months. The DSM, which is the guide for the clinical side for mental health, it says in there that if somebody has alcohol use disorder, you cannot diagnose them with anything else until they are 6 months sober. You cannot get a liver transplant unless you are 6 months sober. You just can't. Okay? And there's reasons for that. Right? So, I'm going to tell you something. If a therapist is working with somebody with alcohol use disorder and that person decides to go into AA, raise their hand, say, I'm an alcoholic. Now they're an alcoholic. Before that, it's alcohol use disorder. Your therapist cannot say, do you think you're an alcoholic? It is self-diagnosed. Alcoholism is self-diagnosed. Okay. So what happens? Okay, so this person gets into AA, or maybe even one of the other programs too, but they make an asserted effort to work on their alcoholism. Okay. Well, you remember how much change you went through in the first 6 months of your sobriety? Maybe you're not 6 months yet. Take a look at how long you've been sober already. You've already changed, even if it's a week, even if it's 3-4 days, you've changed. Maybe your perceptions changed. And gosh, isn't that good? So, what is the first thing? And it's not that big of a thing. Okay? Because we've been drinking so long, we don't live in this world. Our perception of this world is distorted. And it's not just the alcohol. The alcohol does a lot of things, but it's your lack of sleep. Alcoholics don't sleep. We don't really get rest. Nope. Because when you drink, you don't dream. I know I repeat this a lot. When you drink, you don't dream. When you don't dream, you don't REM. When you don't REM, you go cuckoo. You start seeing shit that ain't there. Okay? So the first thing that's going to happen, what does it say in the doctor's opinion? That we come into AA with so many problems, we don't know that we're ever going to be able to solve them. Well, most of them don't exist. Most of those problems don't even exist. So therefore, if you're going to therapy talking about problems that don't exist, you're not going to get anywhere. And because I'm a compulsive liar, I ain't going to tell the therapist the truth. There's the first problem. That's why therapy didn't work when you were drinking. It wasn't working because you couldn't be honest. You didn't know how. I was addicted to lying. It was a habit, a very bad habit. So the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a good night's sleep, and then half your troubles are going to go away. In those 6 months, you're probably going to do a 4th step, a 5th step. You're going to be doing something. And what happens is now that you have a different perspective on it, once you hit that 6 months, it no longer looks like narcissism. Okay. What are the 2 big ones after? Well, there's 3 big ones, and I have them. Okay. The 3 major mental illnesses that you might have after the 6 months. Depression is the number one. Okay. Not severe depression, acute or anything like that. Just depression. Okay. But it's usually the first one to go away. Why? Because we were drinking a depressant. Okay. So that might go away. Anxiety is the next one. Generalized anxiety. Not a particular anxiety, maybe a fear elevators, heights, those sorts of things, right? So anxiety, just general anxiety disorder is what they call it. Okay. Now for me, they had to add things on. I have severe depression. That's what it was called. I don't have it anymore. Now it's depression. Still happens to me every now and again. You guys have seen it. Okay. I have acute anxiety. Acute means it could happen like that. That means my anxiety is usually triggered by something. What's the third one? CPTSD. That's the third one most of us deal with. And what is that? Well, it's past trauma. It's the shit that we put ourselves through. Now let's take those 3 things. Do you think you'll be able to deal with those 3 things in your first 30 days of sobriety while you're still going through the steps and shaking and you can barely even hold a cup of coffee or anything? No. You won't have the mental capability. Your brain's still going to be foggy. 60 days, can we deal with it? No, we're getting closer. Now, keep in mind, this is generalized. Sometimes it takes somebody 2-3 months. Sometimes it takes somebody a year. Okay, but 6 months is the average. And it's what's in the DSM. In fact, you are not supposed to, they should not be getting paid to give you a diagnosis if you are under 6 months of sobriety. Insurance doesn't pay for that because it doesn't follow the DSM. It's like, it's the Bible for counselors, is what it is. Okay. 6 months. It's the key. Now, let's say we did have those things. Well, now, after 6 months, a lot of this has gone away. I've worked on things. I've gotten down to causes and conditions. Now therapy is really going to be the most effective. And I even know how to be honest about it too. It'll be weird because you'll go to therapy and you'll say something and you'll be like, well, that's bullshit. Never mind. Yeah, that's not true. Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's work on that. Now we can get somewhere. Because the therapist's job, their only job is to sit there and listen. Therapists have lots and lots and lots and lots of patience. And I mean patience like tolerance, kindliness, love, and patience, that kind of a patience. Not patience as they have a lot of clients. No, not that patient. They have a lot of tolerance. They have a lot of patience for bullshit. All right. But if you ain't changing, eventually they're going to say, I'm not doing you much good. And we kind of understand that now, don't we? When we're working with an alcoholic who just refusing to show up, it's like, okay, well, I'll just go find the next person that needs help, right? Yeah. That's how we do it. But before that 6 months, we're in a dangerous area, right? Like my depression, they were like, it was severe depression. It wasn't severe depression. It was alcoholism, right? So they put me on meds for it. And then I had to come off those meds. It became something else. It's the meds that we got to be careful, right? Imagine this. Okay. Maybe you have ADHD, so they give you Adderall. That's going to make you feel good. From my guess, I've never had Adderall. All right. Helps you focus, do things like that. Well, see, we're already on a wrong track because the key is this is probably a better way to put it. What we do is we work on our spiritual malady first. When we work on our spiritual malady, everything tends to fall into place. Most problems will be removed again because they didn't exist. The other thing that happens is then our problems become right-sized. So we can work on them. Now therapy is of the most effect, but you're going to want to go a natural way first. And any therapist who is a therapist will tell you the same thing. Yeah. But they might think it's some kind of mental illness because it looks like it. So what are the dangers? The dangers are when somebody like Raleigh House decides that they're going to work with mental health too because they lost all their funding and now they need to make money somehow. That's why they're doing it. Which is the wrong reason, is it not? It's intentions. It's people being nefarious. It's what it is. They don't care. Oh, I'll write that script. Write that script. Write that script. Look what happened with Oxy. Doctors are writing scripts all over. You know why? Because they get kickbacks on those scripts, man. Why do you think doctors push certain medicines? Because the guy that supplies their Cymbalta or Adderall or whatever is their best friend or cousin or uncle or something. You know? What are some of the benefits of it? Danger is mostly the misuse of power, is what it would be. Or a misdiagnosis. Let's say here's an even more dangerous one. Let's say you get diagnosed as bipolar, but really it was alcoholism. Do you know what effect that's going to have on your psyche? The meds themselves. And then to have to get off of them because you're really not bipolar. What a mess, huh? It's happening every day. Happens all the damn time. Misdiagnosis happens all the time because even some of these therapists and doctors and psychiatrists, they're not thinking. They would rather write the script, make their money, feel like they helped you. Nope. They're not helping. In fact, that's going to hinder it. So what are some of the benefits? Well, anything that you can do to help make yourself better and put time and effort into is great. But, I have several people in my life, some that are alcoholic, and then I have some that are not. My spiritual advisor is not alcoholic, but she thinks like I do. Some of you met Pastor Marsha, some of you haven't. She's awesome. If you can't have her, go get your own pastor. She's mine and mine only. I get selfish about my friends, man. I do. My therapist, we've gotten to know each other so well. Half the time we're just bullshitting, which is nice because, we both think the same and things like that. And I actually picked somebody that was a little younger. I wanted somebody in their early to mid 30s. And I wanted a female because females are just, honestly, they're better listeners. And, but I did that because I got tired of going to these therapists that were old men and then they retired. And then I got to start all over. So I went with somebody that I knew was going to be in the industry for quite some time. So I did that. I'm really good at picking out therapists. I've had to. Here's a funny story. When I was 15 or 16, it was one of the times when I was in group homes. There were a couple times when I went home for a little bit, and I blew it. Just, I'd go home for like a month and then run away, and I'd do something silly. And my mom's like, "Okay, I got you, psychiatrist," and I said, "I don't care. I'm not going. I'm not going." Leisure says, "I do because that happened to me." Can you let me know what I was talking about, Leisure, so I can expand on that a little bit, please? Not sure which part was I do because that happened to me. It usually means that maybe we have a different experience here, and I want people to hear that, right? And my mom's like, "No, you will be going to this therapist, or you're going back," and she had to use some kind of leverage. And then, I was in Littleton, it was downtown. I'm like, "Well, how am I going to get there?" She's like, "Well, you have to take the bus." Right. So I hopped on the Zero, which is the bus for Broadway, and went downtown. I knew how to take the Zero. It's like you're inconveniencing me in my time and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. 15. So pretty child. But even by this time, I had already figured out how to manipulate. And I sat down with this great psychiatrist who was in a building downtown. He was on like one of the top floors. He had this, he had a cherry wood desk, a great office. And I told him, "I don't want your help. I'm not going to talk to you. I am going to refuse your help. I don't even want to talk to you." Session ended at about 15 minutes, and they never made another appointment. That made my mom very angry. He didn't even try because I was just so obstinate. I'm like, "I already know that if I don't talk to you, you're just gonna, I don't remember quite what I said, but I knew I blew it on purpose." So what are some of the other benefits? I'm trying to think of some other ones. Just overall, an overall well-being, another person be able to talk to. See, there's a lot of things therapy does that AA does not. Like goal setting. We don't work on goal setting in here. EMDR was fantastic for me. I loved EMDR. Okay. But what is AA? Well, AA in a clinical sense is CBT with God. That's what they call it in the DSM. Actually, they say that it is cognitive behavioral therapy with X factor. X factor means God. It is something that they are not allowed to work with, which I still don't understand. I still don't get that. Of course, there are some therapists out there that are like Christian therapists and, Catholic therapists and things like that too. So I guess there are some people that do that, right? That gets pretty specific sometimes. So those are the pros and cons of mixing mental health and recovery. If it's anything, it's about the timing. It's about the timing. So, all right. Well, let's maybe think of some laminated card, or I really like that membership card. But we need to put something on it like, if you're going to drink, you need to return this. That didn't go the way I thought it was going to, like it did in my head. Strike that. That's a horrible idea. I was thinking of because there's a little joke that, what we all kind of tell it. Why don't you try it out for 2-3 months? If it doesn't work, let me know and I'll write you a receipt for your misery. It was along those lines, but it just sounded more like I was an asshole than anything. So, all right. I think that's going to be it for this one. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. And this, by the way, this video is probably going to be cut. I mean, I played the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood theme. I don't know if I get in trouble for that or not. Of course, it says Mr. Rogers. It doesn't break anything. I'm not taking credit for anything. So who knows anymore? I don't know. I'll just plan on it being, I'm sure Facebook will be like, you violated community standards. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And have a day.